Okay.
Sup?
Hello, guys. Welcome back to our podcast, Lumos, sharing the love with Lindsay and Lillian. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Lillian. And today we're going to be talking about the book Evalene's Number by Bethany Atazadeh. So I really love this book, and I've been wanting to do, like, a talk about it for a while. Yeah, we got them signed, although mine is personalized to me, so...
Wonderful.
You know. Anyway, so today is going to just be absolutely fantastic.
Beasts.
And the crimes of
Grindelwald.
Moving on. So, but before we do that, we realized that in our Hufflepuff podcast, we forgot to do Hufflepuff Bingo to see how Hufflepuff we are. So, we're going to take a moment to do that.
I'm really Hufflepuff, I already know that.
Yes, so guys.
Okay.
Where are your photos? There we go. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. One moment, everyone.
Probably should have set this up before.
How do you... No, I set it up as much as it... Why did it go that way?
Rotate it.
It's not gonna... No. Yep.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay.
We're doing good, guys.
Alright, we're good.
Okay.
So, Hufflepuff Bingo. Oversized hoodies.
Yes.
Is that of both of us?
Yeah.
I think so.
You like wearing my NASA one.
I do like green. Animals are friend.
Yes.
No.
Please.
I'll just check that. You're on top, okay?
Okay.
Likes everyone.
No.
No. Hums random songs while getting ready.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I don't hum them. I sing them.
Oh, that counts. Says hi to everyone.
No.
Gives the best hugs.
Do I?
I don't hug.
I do hug.
Usually.
What,
You
my
give
feet
pretty
off of
good
that.
hugs.
I love hugging people.
Is extremely ticklish. Yep.
Yep.
Collects Funko Pops. Nope. We have yet to get those.
Nope.
Is a
They're
very good
expensive.
cook.
No, I'm not.
Am I a good cook? I mean, like, yeah, Joel compliments
You make
me
some awesome
on how
French
good
fries.
my eggs are. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, your eggs are good.
Listens to old songs.
Yes.
I don't. Shares food with pleasure.
No. Wait, you don't know. If you exit out, that means we do that.
Whoops. Always knows what to say.
No.
Nope. Favorite season is autumn.
Yes.
No.
I'm so excited. It's basically fall, and I'm like so excited.
Laughs about everything.
Yes, me. I laugh about literally everything. It's amazing.
Plays Super Mario. Nope.
No.
Patience. You thought.
Kind of.
Sweet Tooth.
No.
Definitely.
I like savory.
Oh, I'm Sweet Tooth all the way. Falls in love quickly. Do fictional characters count?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Because we have not dated anyone, so.
No
I'm gonna say that.
makeup look.
Yes,
Yeah.
all I wear, seriously, is mascara and chapstick and some brow gel.
Yeah, I do a little bit of blush sometimes. Is into photography. I mean, it's pretty. We're not, like, into it, though.
We're not, like, super into it. It's, like, cool and stuff, but, like, it's not something I'd want to do as a career or, like, a hobby.
Yeah. Autumn leaves are so aesthetic.
Yes.
I mean, I would agree with you.
Okay.
Hopeless romantic.
Yes.
Obviously.
Even though I haven't dated
Fictional
anyone.
characters.
Fictional
everyone.
characters. Just gotta say, Jeremiah, Soul.
We're gonna go on a rant later, guys. We're just gonna...
Okay.
Yep, okay. Knitted blankets. Nah, how about,
No,
like...
I like my fuzzy blankets.
fuzzy blankets.
I have 1,000 fuzzy
Okay.
blankets.
Favorite color is yellow. It is the grossest
Okay, do
color
you want to know
on
why
the
my
planet.
my favorite color is yellow? One of them is because the Power Rangers. I watched Power Rangers Samurai when I was a kid, and my favorite Power Ranger was always the yellow one. So that's why I like yellow so much.
Binge watches TV shows all Sunday long. Not all Sunday.
No.
I binge watch other days. I think
Well,
we'll
I
just...
binge watch when I want to, and I'm not doing anything. I'm actually kind of busy on Sundays.
We're gonna check that, though, because we binge watch anyway. I'm binge watching the last 2 seasons of Voltron, guys.
I'm trying to find amazing historical drama.
Keith is adorable.
I know.
I mean, I got, like, 3 pictures of him on the wall over there, so...
Yeah, if you can, like, kind of see, like...
Behind my head.
Yeah, right there.
Alright, so, Lindsay is... How Hufflepuff are you? Out of 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You're 15 out of 25. I feel like you might be more Ravenclaw than... Okay, I am... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm 9 out of 25. So,
Interesting.
that is how Hufflepuff we are, everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Interesting.
moving onward.
Key.
So, Now, we're moving into Evalene's number, talking about the book. We outlined it all, and we're super excited. At least I am, anyway. So if you haven't read Evalene's number, I would encourage you to first, you probably don't want to listen to the rest of this video, because we're going to spoil all of it.
Yes.
Because I don't even know if I could do a book review about Evalene's number and not, like, spoil it.
How do people do that?
Like,
I don't know.
We're going to spoil it. So I encourage you to stop watching and go read the book. And then come back and watch the podcast. Because it's just going to be fantastic.
Yes.
Anyway. Yes, but if you don't care about the whole book being spoiled before you read it, please continue watching.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's fine.
Well, I've done it to Lily.
We are going to move on. The first thing yeah, you did that for me for like all of Red Queen. You spoiled it.
Sorry.
Anyway, okay. And then, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the general plot. It's going to be so brief, so.
Yes, very much so. Okay, so let's start with oh crap, I forgot the name of the city.
Eden.
That's the country.
No, that's the country. Delmare is the mayor.
Yes, there we go. I forget, like, little things like that. So the time period is after World War III, and it's just the world is, like, split apart. It's awful.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so how Eden and some other countries, they number people, because people think that's okay, apparently. And so the meaning for this is the number 1, which is the highest number you can get, rules
There's only
Eden.
one number 1, though.
Yeah. Obviously. And so everyone has, like, a number on their, like, neck.
The left side of their neck.
The left side. Oh. Yeah. Okay, so it says, like, right here, it's on page 25. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so she's gonna go through, like...
There's 30 different numbers. Okay.
So basically, a number, like, determines your place in society.
Yes.
And usually you get a number based on what your parents are.
On your 13th birthday.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
No, is it... Yes, 13th birthday.
Yes, okay.
So it, like, determines, like, your value. That's it.
The highest number is blue, so that's 1 through 10, so these are party members.
Hang on. All the colors are also numbered.
Yeah.
So that's why...
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
yeah.
all the numbers are colored.
Yeah, so you can kind of see everyone. Yeah.
So that everyone knows who everyone else's number is.
Yeah, and
or,
then...
like, the range they're in.
And then
so do
black
blue
is...
again.
Oh, blue.
So blue is the numbers 1 through 10.
Yes. And then
And
the main character's father is blue, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Their
and
government.
Mother.
Oh, yes. And they're basically rich.
Yeah, I feel like we're confusing everyone now.
And yes. And then so black, that's number 11. These are the regulators. So they're basically the police and yeah. And then white is number 12, clergy.
Just like pastors.
Yeah.
Priests.
They're really amazing in here.
They wear white.
Yeah, they wear white.
I don't know if you said that already.
Red is 13 through 16, merchants and traders. Gray, which is kind of low level, but it's okay. Gray, it's 17 through 23, high level employee. And then the worst one to be in is brown, which is 24 through 30, and that's called a low level employee. And the worst is like probably like
29 and 30 is said to be like forsaken by God.
Yeah.
But just to clear a little bit up, I forgot what I was going to say. What was I going to say? Oh my goodness. Oh, so 30 is the worst number you can get.
Yes.
Like, the closer you get to the number 30, that's bad.
Yeah.
And the best you want to be is, like, closer to number 1. So I know it's kind of, like, the way she has it is kind of, like, backwards, you know? You'd, like, think you'd want to be, like, a high number. That would be 30. But the high numbers are actually, like, the ones.
Oh, I never thought about that. That's funny.
So.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And then, so this idea of numbers is... so it's defining a human being by their number, and that's their value.
Because the number 1
had
like a vision
from
where...
God.
From God.
Yes, from God, totally.
Yeah, that everyone had a number and that was their place.
Yeah, and then the Solicity's faith is through this number. It's basically from, like, the clergy is, like...
Clergy.
You
can only talk to God through a clergyman.
Yeah, which is very disagreeable to me. That's kind of like, for me, I believe everyone has their own right to do it.
Right, and so thinking like that would be called, like, being a heretic.
Faith, which is Jeremiah.
Which is, like, Jeremiah. Yeah. So they have the faith where you can talk to God, like, personally. It's usually, like, how, like, a Christian would be. Like, you don't have to talk to, well, non-denominational, probably, because I think Catholic still.
Catholic is kind of like that, maybe not to the extremity of that.
So it'd be, like, just being able, like, how we do now, just praying, and that would be considered heresy.
And then reading your Bible.
a city, right?
By
and
yourself.
reading the Bible by yourself.
And then also they so the number one basically brainwashed and is feeding this country information. They're like, hey, there's no other surviving countries. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like just basically brainwashes them and tells them things.
Right,
that are
and
not
then
true.
the numbers just determine really who they are.
Yes.
It's really like sad. Like people are being told that they're like a certain number, and then they're just living in like I'm not worth anything if I'm like a 29 or 30.
Yeah.
Or like probably past like 15 down to 30 would be
it's
like
probably pretty.
you're not
Yeah.
good enough. So the main character is Evalene. And she and Jeremiah are on, like, the cover of the book, if y'all can see it. I don't know there, so.
Yeah.
So she is about 13, I think, when we meet her.
Yep, 13.
And she moves into her numbering day, at 13.
Her father. He's a blue.
Yeah, her father's a 4.
Okay, yeah.
And her mother is a 6.
Yep.
And usually when you have parents like that, you're gonna be, a higher number. But her mom was also part of what they called the Bloom Rebellion.
Which I will talk more about later.
Yes. So she was like a heretic. She believed that numbers did not define anyone, that they had they had value in God, that they could talk to God by themselves, they could pray and read the Bible.
Yep.
All things.
And that's a very rebel idea, isn't it?
Well, to the city, yes. But so, and then she died in this rebellion, right? And she was captured and died by the regulators. And so when Evelyn went to get numbered, she ended up with a 29, which usually you're within a few of your parents, and she was. Like, she should have still been the same color blue. Like, she should have been in the color blue. But then it's because the number 1 is super messed up, and then she was a 29 because her mom was in the... Anyway, so she's 29 now. And then she was, like, disgraced to her family. She ended up becoming a servant in her own, like, household.
Like the lowest of the lowest servants.
Yeah, so she's like the lowest of the low servants in her own household, and she like serves her dad.
And everything was basically taken away from her.
Yeah.
And she's treating very poorly.
Yeah, so anything that she has to wear brown all the time. She really can't read, though she does sneak a book in.
Yeah.
Which means whatever. Okay, so our second character is Jeremiah. He's the second main character, and he's the cute
on the cover
one.
again.
Yeah, he's on the cover too, next to Evalene there. Alright, his parents were also in the Bloom Rebellion. They were the leaders of the Bloom Rebellion because Jeremiah's last name is Bloom.
Yeah. Which you'll find out more about.
Which you don't really find out at the beginning. You find out later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so his parents led the rebellion. They both died. His mom died first. Or no, did his dad die first or his mom? One of his parents died first, and then the other one left and died, and
Weren't they both hanged?
Yeah, at separate times, though.
Yeah. And then
But
he had to watch it on TV. Like, that's...
And he was just, I think, 11 or 7 or...
That's
no,
really
9.
damaging.
Was he 9? Why am I so bad at remembering this? Okay, anyway, so he watched his parents be hanged, right?
Yeah.
And then he was moved into, like... I was about to say a nursing home, but I meant orphanage.
A nursing home, yes, he's that old, guys.
He was put into an orphanage, and they were hungry a lot in there, if I remember correctly, and so he would, like, be able to like, thief. Like, he learned how to, like, become a thief, basically, and, like, steal the food that he needed to survive. And actually, one time it said in the book that he had stolen, what was it, I think an apple, or was it, like... It was some, like, small piece of, like, fruit or, like, bread, and then a female regulator had caught him, and he said that his smile had gotten him off with just a warning, so obviously he's quite good looking. And so
of course, he's the love interest of the book. Of course he's good looking.
Right,
obviously.
So... he, would just steal stuff, basically. Then he was good at it. It also says that he's, like, light on his feet, which is just... I figured out how to do it. Anyway.
Wait, didn't you figure out just because Jeremiah did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Like, I did. Like, I can be silent.
Just imagine her walking around softly, trying to walk like Jeremiah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I did figure it out, and we'll make a whole podcast on how to walk without sound. Okay. I'm just kidding. And then Luke was his best friend in the orphanage. He was 2 years older. And then Jeremiah ended up getting adopted by someone named Lady Barrow, who was a high number. And Jeremiah, only people who are low numbers go to orphanages. Mm-hmm. And so he was a 28. And then Luke was Luke like a 23?
He was like
no,
24.
Kev was a 23. Luke is I think Luke actually might be a 23.
We should have checked these things
We'll
before.
figure that out later. Or he's Brownlow too, I think.
Yeah, he's...
Or was he gray?
No, he was brown.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we're going to move on now.
He was a low number, that's all you need to know.
He was a low number with Jeremiah in the orphanage because high-numbered orphans don't go to orphanages. Alright? Moving on.
Okay, so Evalene escapes her summer home with her friend Kevra, who is what? She's,
I think, the 23 that I'm thinking of.
well, yeah.
Because she's higher
Higher than Evalene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then, so they're basically planning their escape, because they're just like, I can't do this anymore, because Evalene's getting abused. Kevra, she's getting abused at her workplace.
Yeah.
So they basically... Kevra teaches Evalene how to drive, and then, so they're
wait, hang on. Another thing is that if you're a low number and a higher number, like, touches you, and you, like, you can't do anything. You can't fight back, like, if they punch you or assault you in any way. Like, you can't do anything if you're a low number.
Yeah.
And the regulators won't believe you because if the higher number, if you're a low number, then they'll believe the higher number because they have the more respect. Sorry.
Yes, okay. So then, let's go back to Jeremiah, because what happens is you get Evalene's perspective and Jeremiah's perspective.
And it skips about 5 years.
Oh, yeah, it does. So, like, Jeremiah's in his early 20s.
He's 22.
22. Okay. So, Jeremiah... Oh, well, actually what happens is on the milk cartons, there's these little, like, flyers talking about a rebellion.
Not in them, it's underneath.
Like, underneath, and then Evalene, like... has seen them, and then Jeremiah is actually behind those, which is pretty cool.
He made them all,
and you didn't know that till like later, and you're like, these are clever, and then it's like, oh, Jeremiah made them. So he's the leader of this up and coming rebellion, because so his parents led the first rebellion in Eden, and it was called the Bloom Rebellion because Jeremiah Bloom. There's actually this island. What is the country called?
The island is called Hoffen.
And then, so it's not another country, and that's where Olive is, which is one of my favorite characters. And he basically goes over there and he's starting to get people to fuel this rebellion.
Oh, because with Lady Beryl, she would, like, collect money in high numbers for, what was the first one? Was it, like, the whales or something that she was raising awareness for? Or some animal. And then, so she gave all the money to Jeremiah for the rebellion.
Oh,
and then they would, like, make these work orders to take lower numbers to, like, just random destinations.
Yeah, to do stuff.
And it was the forged signature from the number one that someone had found.
Yes.
Figured out because someone, like, saw the number one signature. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so they'd, like, take all, like, these low numbers in a submarine from Eden, like, sail them over to Hoffen, drop them off, they'd come back, and then they'd get more.
Yes.
And they would tell them what they were doing after they were already on the submarine.
Yes.
So that, you know, there's no escape now. You're like, you can go be free. And then, so Hoffen is number free. Like, the people that don't have numbers.
Yeah, so, like, Olive, she doesn't even have a number because she was born in Houghton. Okay, and then also, let's go back to Evalene now. So her and Kevra, they need to go from their city all the way to the coast to get to, like, the number free states, right? Is that what they call them?
Well, they have to go to... Yeah, they're going to the free
and they have to go
but they need a ship.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. And so basically... Oh, also, Evalene steals her father's
girlfriend's
identity card. Because she is a blue, right?
Yeah, and then they try to look like her.
Yes, and they do that, and then they get through the stations, and then they stop at this, like, forgotten, like...
abandoned store.
Yeah, this store. And, Kevra knocks her out and ties up Evalene, because Kevra finds out that, you need to use your identity card to get onto the ship. So she's like, well, I'm gonna fend for myself, and I'm gonna go do it. And then so she betrays Evalene, and it was very shocking to me. And then, you made some... Because you read this before me. You made some comment on Kevra, and it was like, what do you think about her? And then I'm like, I don't know. And then I thought later about him, like, oh, she's gonna do something bad. I just thought about it, yeah.
Yeah, but I was settled about it. I just don't know how
I know, but I caught your settled. If you ask me about a character, I'm gonna start thinking about it.
But I could have asked you about Evalene, and then you would have been like, oh, she's a bad character then. And
well, no, she's the main character. That would be, okay, that would be kind of cool if the main character was kind of like the bad character, but you start from like the villain's perspective, and then you hop into the main character. Oh, that would be so cool. Oh my gosh, so that's what, okay. Yes, that'd be cool. And then, so she gets betrayed, and then Evalene and Jeremiah's path intersects. So Jeremiah comes to the store, because this is where his little, like, hideout.
He has a hideout there.
Yeah.
And
he goes in there, and he sees Evalene.
So Evalene is tied to a chair and knocked out. And Jeremiah is like, well, I don't really want to go in here or help this person because, like, I don't know what they're doing.
Because she was wearing blue to get passed by, so he's like, what is a blue number?
And then he checked the tattoo.
And he sees it's 29.
And then he knew right away that it was a runaway. That Evalene was a runaway.
Yes.
And it's so funny when he wakes her up, he like clears his throat, and then after she opens her eyes, he just goes, "Hey there," and it's so funny.
It was, yes. And then so Evalene like she wants to get out, and so Jeremiah is like, "Hey, I have the submarine going. You wanna come?
Come on, I'm about to go to a ship."
Yeah. And so, basically, they go in the submarine, and she's kind of, like, very, like, cautious about it. And so that's where she meets her best friends. Olive. Okay, and she's kind of, like, helping people around here. My first impression of Olive, she just talks a lot, like, doesn't know when to stop. And I'm like, will she shut up? And then, when it's like, I kept reading, I'm like, wait, I'm kind of like her.
I know. She's
you're like really Evalene, and I'm like Olive. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And then they get to Houghton, and it's like this big, there's lots of tents, and there's like, it's basically kind of like a military base, and people are living here.
Essentially.
And then they go to, eventually, let's see. And then Evalene's kind of like cautious about like, ooh, should I join this? And then she decides to go.
They're forming a rebellion with all the people that they bring over.
Yes, and Jeremiah's like, you're welcome to come. And then, but she's kind of iffy about it. And then the day before, she goes with Olive to the farm, because Olive, she lives on our farm, which is like a mile or two away, I think. Not too far, but yeah. What else? And then she's like, no, I need to go. So she
had like some disagreement, not a disagreement.
Yeah.
She had found out that Jeremiah had been pretending to be a high number, but was actually a 28, and so she didn't like that because she felt like he lied to her.
Yeah.
Which it's just understandable. And then he ended up knowing her number the whole time and pretending that he didn't, but then ended up telling. It's complicated.
And he kept telling her that she's valuable no matter what she was numbered.
And then he kept denying that he liked her. But I'm like, but you're saying all these cute things to her. You like her.
Yes. And
just
then
admit it.
And then what happens is they run back to the ship. And they don't make the one that... Because Jeremiah is the first for, like, the ships or, like, submarine.
First submarine.
So they get on the last one. They sneak onto it and get past Luke on the ship. And then they get found out. And then Luke's, like, really mad. And it's kind of funny.
Just a little bit. Okay, so then basically that's, like, the transition into where we skipped a huge chunk, so... Go read it. But so then that they're moving kind of into war and they're going back into Eden. And Jeremiah is obviously leading the war. And then he gets injured when they're trying to take the news station, I think it was.
The news station.
And so he gets injured. He gets shot. How many times? 4, was it?
4 or 5.
His shoulder, his finger,
his toe,
his back, and his toe.
Oof.
He was shot 4 times. Which I was reading that, and like
so
it hurt to read. But like it just hurt. Why are you doing that to me? It hurt really bad. Like you could feel it. Like it was just painful to read. And then he decided. Well, he already he ripped his stitches like a couple times.
Yeah,
he passed out a couple times. Yeah. Because he had so much, like, blood loss, And then Luke keeps telling him to go, like, lead the people and, like, be in this position of power that Jeremiah doesn't want. Because then, otherwise... He doesn't want, like, a number 1 to, like... Yeah. He doesn't want to be the number 1, even though he's, like, 28. He doesn't want to, like, be the sole person to lead the people. He wants a council of people. And Luke wants him to temporarily lead, but then he knows that... that Jeremiah would just end up being the leader for like all of it, and Jeremiah doesn't want that.
Oh wait, you didn't put in the part. So Evalene and Olive, they get caught.
Well, they could just go read that though.
No, but I just needed. It talks about soul.
Oh,
come on, we need to talk about soul. Fine,
but then hang on. So Jeremiah is like leaving.
Yes.
Right, he's gone. He ripped his stitches out. He's about to pass out. And he's just essentially dying.
He does like a day drive.
He's literally dying. And he drives from there all the way up. Like, I think it's like an 8-hour drive. It's all the way to Lady Rose. And when he gets there, it's adorable. But he...
No, it's not adorable.
No, it's adorable because while he's incapacitated, he's just talking about Evalene. It's so funny. But then, so he gets there... And he's, like, passed out, like, almost dying. Like, essentially when
as soon as he gets there.
As soon as he pulls in, like, he just... passes out.
Yeah.
And then Lady Barrow's there, which is essentially like his motherly figure ever since he was little. Little-ish. Whatever. And so then he like spends time asleep and talking about Evalene, though he doesn't know it. And so then funny. Like it's hilarious. Anyway, but then Evalene and Olive were told to stay on the ship. They need fresh air because Evalene's getting sick, and so they go up, they peek over, some regulators see them, and then they get captured, and they meet Sol, who busts them out, who
is amazing.
Is a regulator, by the way.
And he's, like, very much a Slytherin. He's very chill dude that just kind of, like, slips into the background.
Yeah, I really like Sol.
Yeah, me too.
And anyway, and then, so Evalene ends up, so they were broadcasting stories to all the people of Evalene, telling... the people of Evalene, to all the people, of Eden, the people of Eden, and then just to like be like, numbers aren't real, we are removing number 1 from power, which they did, and there's going to be a council and whatever, and they're sharing people's stories just to be like, you know, numbers are stinky and they just shouldn't happen.
Yes.
So Evalene gets up, tells her story that and then I think she just figured out that her mom was like, since she was part of the rebellion, that's why Evalene got such a low number.
Yep.
It was
that happened to lots of different people.
It was
too.
a discipline to like her family and her name, which happened to several other people. And then so she finally believes that after Jeremiah told her like so many times, but she actually gets up and she says to the people that her number doesn't define her, and then that's when she starts to believe that she's not what her number says she is, even though it's permanently on her neck.
Yes.
And then the last part of the book is when Evalene is growing up thinking that her mother's dead, and then the last sentence says, "Your mother is alive."
End of book 1.
And that's the end. And so we're not going to dwell on that because we're moving into the characters, alright? So, Evalene is essentially me, right? Why, though? I mean, Evalene is just a good character. She's like, what house did we think she's in? Slytherin?
Yes, Slytherin.
Right? Yeah, so she's kind of like a Slytherin where she's just not trusting. It's me.
That's not like an official Slytherin thing. It's just what most Slytherins are.
I know. She is like, she's just kind of shy and quiet though too. She's similar to Sol. Yeah. She's very similar to Sol. Then Kevra is definitely a Slytherin.
Or she has a Slytherin at the moment. We don't really know too much about her. We can really put her in a house.
Because she died. So when Jeremiah went... So we read it from his perspective. Not her death, but like essentially that she died because he was looking at Evalene. Was he talking to her or something?
I don't remember exactly.
But then he realized that they'd probably have an identity card somewhere, and then he's like, well, what they don't know is that they actually take the actual identity card and physically check it against your tattoo.
Yeah.
And so obviously Kevin is dead.
Yeah. Because
they didn't match. But yeah, Jeremiah is just adorable. He's like, obviously Evalene and Jeremiah end up together, though they don't kiss until the second book in like the 20th chapter, which I'm just shocked it took so long.
I'm very proud of Bethany for like doing that.
And they end up kissing really... in front of like
I'm not there yet.
A whole bunch of people. That's
in Pearl's number. The next.
That's in Pearl's number. Yes. But anyway, so Jeremiah's good. He's like a leader. He's confident. He's a Gryffindor.
Yes.
Obviously, because he's leading rebellion, and he gets shot 5 times, and he still proceeds to like not pass out. Well, okay. No, he got shot 4 times. It was the first 3 times that he got shot that he didn't pass out. And then it was when they got into the building, you know, when he had his back to the people inside, that some random dude shot him in the back, and he's like, well, I'm gonna fall over now. And he passed out. So, Lady Barrow, I feel like she's a Gryffindor.
She reminds me of
amazing.
McGonagall.
I know.
Yeah, she's like McGonagall
She's
from
like
Harry
a
Potter.
motherly figure.
But she's so smart.
And she's like protective and
Yeah.
so smart. There's like this one line because Jeremiah starts when he's younger and first like there, he starts stealing the stuff from Lady Barrel, you know, to hide and then sell and make a profit and then go live off the money or whatever. And so he's harboring all this stuff, but then someone sees him once, they search his room, blah, 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 and then he goes and has a talk with Lady Barrel. And then one of the thoughts he has is, well, I'm going to need to reassess her mental state, because he thought that since she was an old person, that she had, like, a declining mental state, you know?
No, she's sharp.
But she's so sharp, like, I loved that line, it was so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then we're gonna go on to Luke, which is,
Jeremiah's
best
adopted
friend.
brother.
Yes.
Because he gets adopted by
he
Lady
is
Barrel.
very much a Slytherin, too. And he can kind of come off as, like, rude. And he's very focused on what he wants, which is a very
Right.
Slytherin thing. And, like, I kind of like him when I first meet him, but the more you kind of read about him, I'm, like, kind of like, And then there's Olive, who is basically me. She's very outspoken on what she wants. She's very loyal. She's a Hufflepuff, for sure. And she's very outspoken, and she's not, like, ambitious, but, like, determined. Yes.
But not in the Slytherin way.
No, not, like, in a Hufflepuff, like, just good way. And it turns out she's a really good computer hacker. So don't underestimate a girl. And then there's Sol, who is amazing. So he is a regulator, so his number is 11. He's very quiet. He's a Slytherin. He's kind of just, like, in the background. It's hard to kind of notice him sometimes because he's in the background.
Yeah.
And it turns out Olive and Sol kind of like each other.
But then Sol's also very observant. Like, he just observes everything, so then he, like, kind of, like, predicts outcomes, it seems.
Yeah, very smart.
He's just so smart. But yes, Olive and Sol are obviously get together.
And he stood up because in the rebellion, kind of for what he believed in, because he let out Evalene and Olive and turns to their side and just follows what he believes in, which is good.
But then he keeps getting beat up because he was a regulator.
Yeah. And he proves them wrong. For sure.
Right, but he still gets beat up by stupid
Sadly.
people. So, character rants. Do we need to go on a rant about Jeremiah? Because he's just cute.
I think we already went on rants on both of them. They're just
like,
amazing characters.
Hot and tall and just cute. And Sol. Do you need to go on a rant about
I already went on a
cute he
rant.
is?
I'm not going to go on another rant. But
I swear, if we get Bethany to watch this
Okay, no, this is really funny. Because we've already kind of talked about... Because we're big Harry Potter fans, if you haven't noticed yet. I'm a Hufflepuff. She's a Ravenclaw, but she's very close to Slytherin.
Why did you go on that?
What?
Where'd that come from?
What? I'm not done yet. Okay. And then, so Sol is a Slytherin. And I've thought about it. Hufflepuffs and Slytherins are very compatible, as you can see with us, because you're very much close to a Slytherin.
Yeah.
I'm close to a Ravenclaw. They're compatible together, too. But Slytherins and Hufflepuffs are such a compatible, relationship. And then I'm like, I want my future spouse to be a Slytherin. I really do. And then for you...
I haven't decided yet what house I want them to be in.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just like Jeremiah, so I feel like that would just work out well.
Yeah.
But he's a Gryffindor. Slytherins and Gryffindors usually don't get along better, but I like Jeremiah's
But when they
character.
do, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so, theme.
Okay.
We're getting into the nitty-gritty language arts stuff, okay?
Fun.
Is value, obviously, because, like, you take it...
You good?
They're given numbers, which define their value in the society that they're in, but then the whole book, Evalene is, like, trying to figure out that she's not her number, and then Jeremiah is telling her this multiple times in the book, like, you're valuable, like, your number doesn't define you.
Didn't you, like, mark that down in your book?
Yeah, I think I just marked some cute little, like, themes,
That's
you know?
Yes.
Yes.
So this, the big theme is valuable. You're valuable.
So
A
your
number does
test
not
score
define
on
you.
the ACT does not define you because that is also a number. And like we
We
learned...
could go on a rant about that.
Yeah, we could go on a rant. But
Okay.
like we learned in this wonderful book, numbers are not a defining factor of a human being. Don't let your test score tell you who you are because it's not an accurate reflection.
Like
It's
the
not.
stupid AP
Standardized
tests. No.
testing does nothing.
No, you can tell by our
actual-
scores. We're good students, but our standardized testing
We
is
have
not.
A's in all of our classes.
Basically, yeah.
Majority. I think you had a B once. I had a B
Yeah.
once or level high school.
Like stuff like that.
And then we get our standardized test scores back, and it's like, well, I know I do better than this.
Yes.
Like
I work hard.
half of this stuff, like I'm a year ahead in math class. Okay, rant in progress. Just beware. I'm a year ahead in math for our grade, and you're not.
Yeah.
And so that gives me an advantage. But then there's people who are 2 years ahead in the math, but that gives them an advantage. And it's not like fair to
It's not
everyone
fair
else.
to
It's like
everyone.
not the same curriculum or anything. Your number doesn't define you. Okay?
And there's people who have anxiety. Like for us, we get so anxious over these standardized testing.
Anxiety.
And there's like some people just testing does not show what they know. It's just it doesn't work for everyone. And it's like what it's put out is like a one size fits all, and it's not. It's just not.
Some people demonstrate their learning in different ways, and
Yes.
I think colleges shouldn't look at ACT scores. They should look more at the classes you're in, how you're doing in them, and maybe your GPA. But
And then maybe like recommendations from teachers about how they work.
yeah,
Okay. I thought we said we weren't going on a rant, but we did. So that's how we
numbers
feel.
don't define
We
you.
we actually did a debate for language arts on standardized testing, and it was kind of bad, but I got a good score, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Symbolism. The necklace.
This is the necklace. Okay, you can see it. It's on this cover of this book. So so this was her mom's necklace, right?
I think it might have been.
I think it was, and then her father gave it to her.
For her 18th birthday.
For her 18th
And then he
birthday.
was about to tell her what it was, but then he got cut off by a
Yes.
servant, and so she had to leave and not know what it was until the ending of the book,
When someone tells her.
when Sol is sitting next to her, and if you can see it, there's like a Latin phrase on the front of the book, and so Sol's telling her that anyone with that necklace and that phrase, a regulator can't touch that person, but usually only high numbers have it. And he's like, well, I wish you would have shown us that earlier, because then we wouldn't have beaten you up and thrown you in a jail cell, right? And so the phrase is Latin for, why are you covering up my face? It's Deus et natura non nocere, which means God and nature do not harm. It's like a charm thing or whatever. I think is what you'd call it. And it basically just protects people from regulators.
Yeah.
And probably has a deeper meaning, but
Yeah.
we have yet to figure out what that deeper meaning is. So,
And then Jeremiah and Evalene, you just know they're gonna end up together.
foreshadowing.
And I just love this relationship because it's not like it's so many books. It's like they're together right away, and it's like
That's perfect relationship.
yeah, it's not. And most of the time, it's like, oh my gosh, everything's perfect. But with this, not everything's perfect, and it takes a long time to actually get into a relationship. And they're not even Red Pearl's number,
Because
not even in a relationship yet.
Jeremiah, doesn't want to, get distracted by her, but he obviously is. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
When you read the stuff from
and he
his
just notices
perspective.
these little things. And it's
I
so
know.
funny.
So he doesn't want to get distracted by her, and she, doesn't want to admit that she's falling for him.
Yeah.
I feel like. And then, their note, that Jeremiah gives her a note that says, hey, I want to get to know you when we come back from this battle. You're valuable. That's, essentially the summary of the note, you know? Which is essentially saying, you know what? I'd love to date you. But anyway, so, you know right away when you read the first chapter from Jeremiah that they're going to end up together, eventually. Yeah. But they don't end up together until, the second book, I swear.
Yes, you're fine, Lily. You're fine. Okay.
It's torture. But yes, it's not a perfect relationship because Evalene is trying to figure out who she is before she falls in love. Yeah, wonderful. Well, Jeremiah's trying to help her. Anyway, Kevra. I just want to say that Bethany did an amazing job putting in the betrayal, because there were literally no hints as to how Kevra would be,
Yes.
that Kevra would betray her. I did pick up a couple things, because I read it one time, and I was completely shocked at the betrayal.
But then when you read it again,
And
you're
I read the second time, and I looked at a couple of the things that I thought were a little off, and I'm like, subtle hints, Bethany, I get it now, right? So, like, I could see these little tiny things. And, like, but I feel like when you read it the first time, you won't get it.
Yeah, and with me, I'm like, la 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 la. This is really funny. So in the Red Queen, I'm not going to say who's betraying, but this is my favorite character. My favorite character, not even going to name. But I was like, look, I already knew this person was the betrayer because I ruined it for myself, because that's what I do sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I still looked at all these things and like, nope, not happening. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just hate it because I'm like, oh.
And then you ended up telling me who the betrayer was.
Oh, I did.
You did, but then I forgot, and so when I read it, I'm like, man, I really don't like this character. Like, what is going on? He's obviously not. You can't trust him. Obviously,
he's such a good villain.
It's so
great,
obvious to me anyway, because I don't trust people anyway. Usually, it takes me a long time, and so I was just like, overanalyze.
And there we go. And you should read the Red Queen series too. It's very...
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another...
Coaster.
This, though, I swear, this is an emotional
This
coaster.
is, too. Yeah.
Okay, so, we are going to read an excerpt now from the book, because it's too good to even not read an excerpt. And, you know, I want to just tease you guys. So, alright, so we're going to have a little context here. All right. Jeremiah and Evalene are sitting at a campfire late at night in the camp, and they're talking, and then right before Jeremiah leaves, Evalene asks him a question, okay? What is the... Okay, hang on. Okay, so, yes. Jeremiah sat back down, angling to face her. Well, who gave you your number? God did. Evalene repeated the answer she'd heard her whole life. Well, that's what they tell you, but who actually did your tattoo? Well, one of the priests. Right, and you decided, because everyone else did, that it was from God. Jeremiah's gaze was intense. Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Evalene didn't know what to say. So let me ask you this. What do you think is your number? Jeremiah continued as the fire flickered. You know what it is. Evalene felt herself shrink at the reminder of how little she was worth. But Jeremiah shook his head. I know what your tattoo says, but what do you think your number is? It doesn't matter what I think it is, her voice cracked. I'm a 29. His voice was gentle. Are you? Or did you decide that was your number because everyone else said it was? Jeremiah pointed to her neck where the tattoo lay underneath the blue scarf. You're still choosing to believe that number is yours. That people have numbers at all. But it's who I am, she whispered, tears filling her eyes. We're not even in Eden anymore. Passion filled his voice. Numbers don't exist here. Don't you see? You're making a choice to believe that it's who you are. He lowered his voice, trying to be quiet for the sake of those sleeping nearby. It's the same way for faith. Maybe because it was so late, or maybe it was her emotions getting in the way, she didn't understand. What do you mean? I'm saying believing you have a number is a choice, and so is faith in God. A choice? And then we're going to stop there. Go read the rest of it if you want to know what happens, but Jeremiah is just the most adorable human being on this planet.
Yes.
And the fictional planet, of course. So.
I would choose in the real planet.
What did you learn, Lindsay?
Value. You are valuable.
You're valuable.
You're valuable.
So are you.
So are you.
No, it was really good. Yeah. I really liked that theme. It was a necessary
This
theme.
would be cool to actually get this on a necklace.
I don't think like anyone ever addresses that topic. Like so many people I think struggle with thinking.
And it wasn't sometimes if you do that it's kind of like cringy if you try to do it, but like in this it's like she does such a good job of putting it in.
Like I even wrote like this sitcom thing for a language arts project in 8th grade about this person, it's a similar story essentially that I wrote, but it was so cringy.
Yeah. And
then I read Evalene's number and I'm like, this theme is like
really good.
Like you're right, like it can be cringy. Like some people just don't do it right. But then I read
so
this
right.
good book.
Yeah.
And it was just, I've read a lot of books. I think Red Queen was the top. And then I reread this, and I'm like, no, this book
is really good.
Is much better than
and it
any
also
book
shows
I
our
have read.
Christian values in it too.
Right, it does. It's just wonderful. Like, okay, I'm gonna it's good. Read it.
Yes.
Please read it. Please read it.
Okay.
All right, extra bits. What characters we are most like? We already been over this. I'm like Evalene, and you're like Olive.
Yes.
And you like a character like Soul.
Yes.
Yeah, I like someone like Jeremiah. So.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be funny if you actually married someone named Soul and I married someone named Jeremiah?
I would change my name. I would seriously. I would maybe change my middle name to Olive, or I would change my first name. Okay, and then so also at the end of the book,
yeah, let me show you
puts
mine,
a Bible verse. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna read it.
Yes,
so it's
read
Luke 12:6-7. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? Yet not one of them is forgotten by God. Indeed, the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. It's kind of funny, but it's really true. It's like you're valuable.
It's really good. So, we finished this book.
Yes.
And we're reading this book. I mean, look at how cute they are on the front of that cover.
Yes.
It's just adorable. And then so Bethany, so this is her number series.
Yep.
And then she has another series. I don't have all the books for it. But it's called The Stolen Kingdom. And so this is the first book. The second book is called The Genie Key. The third book is called The Cursed Hunter. Yep. And the fourth book, which is she's working on now, is coming out I think in March, unless it's been delayed a little more, but it's coming out next year.
Yes.
It's called The Enchanted Crown. So go read all her stuff. Go follow her on Instagram. Go find her at Barnes & Noble. I mean, she's just the most fantastic author ever.
And then also with the Stolen Kingdom series, I bought the first 2. I haven't read it yet. And which is really cool is with my luck, all the books I own by her is signed by her. But I think she just goes and signs the books.
So originally,
so it's kind of cool.
Right before COVID happened, she was going to have this meet thing at a Barnes & Noble near us. And
it's the one by our house.
And then when COVID hit, she couldn't meet any of her fans, obviously. So what she did is she went to Barnes & Noble, ordered in a bunch of books, signed them all that we could order from Barnes & Noble, and so they must have still had some left over, which is what you ended up getting.
Yes.
I didn't take part in that because I already had these 2 books. But my parents were actually at the library when she was there selling them. And so that's why I got 2 Lillian in it, because my parents had her sign it to me,
which is so cool. Yeah.
And they got both of them signed.
Yeah.
So mine are personalized. Yours aren't, but it's still cool.
Also, if you wanna, so in Barnes & Noble, so it's in the young adult section, and the one we're by, I don't know if it's the same for all the Barnes & Noble, but it's next to the Red Queen series. So if you look for this series that has crowns on them, it's probably gonna be right next to that.
Well, that's because it's alphabetized, so it's Aviard and Atazadeh.
And I like both series, so
they're wonderful.
Just check both out.
Yeah. All right. So we hope you enjoyed today. There were a couple of rants, and it was wonderful. I just love the book. It's just so amazing. You need to read it. Everyone should read it. And then we should talk about it in language arts class. That just needs to happen. Go read our story on Wattpad. I'll link it below because I don't want to give you all the details we'll talk about. So anyway, I don't know when the next chapter is going to be coming out because I have not started editing it yet.
Yeah, we've been really busy doing stuff, and then school's coming up soon.
And it is. So we're trying to finish up this season of the podcast and get our story out. But what might end up happening is I might just edit a bunch of chapters and wait to put them out until school starts because we ended The Prisoner of Azkaban anyway. So it's not like we're in a plot hole at the moment. No. Or a plot cliffhanger. Whatever. And so we're moving into the Goblet of Fire. And if I released the first chapter of the Goblet of Fire, everyone would have so many questions. Because we're starting...
there's so many people reading it. Yeah.
Because there's so many people reading it, right? But we added 3 people's perspectives. And it would just be it would be... Okay. We're going to probably wait on it. We'll see what happens.
Dude, I just realized something. Do you know what we kind of did? So you know kind of how Victoria, so for the Red Queen series, the first 2 books is just from Mare's perspective. And then in the 3rd and 4th book, it goes from different perspectives. That's what we did without thinking about it. That's so great.
All right. So go follow us on Instagram at Lumos Podcast. Go follow Bethany on Instagram at author Bethany Atazadeh or whatever. We'll probably link her Instagram below because she's an amazing human being.
She's on YouTube too.
Yes, she's on YouTube as well. We'll link that below because she's just awesome.
And she's an adorable dog. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all, yeah. And then lead with love, kindness, and compassion.
And in a world full of Umbridge, be a Fred and George.
Adios.